information. Today, we're continuing our chapter book called The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. And if you remember, we are now going to meet Mr. Badger. So chapter 4 is actually called Mr. Badger, okay? So let's find out about him, huh? They waited patiently for a long time. Finally, they heard the sound of someone inside shuffling toward the door. The bolt shot back and the door opened very slowly. A pair of sleepy eyes peered out at them. "The next time this happens, I shall be very angry," said a gruff voice. "Who is disturbing me? Speak up." "It's me, Rat, and my friend Mole," cried Rat. "We're lost. Please let us in." "Ratty, my dear little man," exclaimed Badger. "Come in, both of you. Lost in the snow at this time of night?" The two animals couldn't wait to get inside the warm house. Badger had been on his way to bed when he heard the knocking. He was wearing his pajamas and slippers. He shuffled ahead of his visitors, leading the way by candlelight. They walked down a long passage into a central hall. They could see many other mysterious tunnels branching out. Badger flung open a door and led them into a big firelit kitchen. The floor was made of red brick, and a fire burned brightly in the fireplace. Two high-backed chairs faced each other. In the middle of the room stood a long table with a bench on either side. Rows of spotless plates lined the shelves at the far end of the room. From the rafters hung hams, bags of onions, and baskets of eggs. Badger gave them pajamas and slippers and told them to sit in front of the fire to warm up. He cleaned and bandaged Mole's wound. In Badger's warm and safe home, it seemed that the cold, wild wood was miles away. The supper that Badger served was fit for a king. After they finished eating, they all retired to the fireplace where they chatted for a long time. Badger said, "Give me some news from your part of the world. How's old Toad doing?" "He goes from bad to worse," replied Rat gravely. "He had another smash-up last week. He insists on driving himself when he really isn't capable. He refuses to hire a driver." "He's been in the hospital 3 times, added Mole, "and he's had to pay many fines." "Badger, do you think we should do something?" Rat asked. But Badger said he could not do anything. No animal is ever expected to do anything active during the off-season. I guess that means winter, huh? "When the season has changed, we'll talk to Toad seriously and bring him to reason," Badger said. "We'll make him be sensible." Since supper had ended, Rat had fallen asleep 2 or 3 times, but Mole was feeling quite lively. Since Mole was an underground dweller by nature, Badger's house suited him well. Rat was used to a fresh breeze and found the atmosphere stifling. "I think it's time for bed," Badger said. "Sleep in late tomorrow morning. Breakfast is served whenever you like." When the 2 tired animals came down to breakfast very late in the morning, they found 2 young hedgehogs sitting at the table eating oatmeal. The hedgehogs rose to their feet respectfully when Rat and Mole entered the room. "No need to stand," Rat said. "Where have you come from? Did you lose your way in the snow?" "Yes, sir," said the older hedgehog. "Me and little Billy were trying to find our way to school, and we got lost. We finally stumbled upon Mr. Badger's door. We knocked because we knew that Mr. Badger was so kind. I see, Rat said as he helped himself to some bacon and Mole cooked some eggs. What's the weather like? Terrible, sir. The snow is quite deep, said the hedgehog. The doorbell rang loudly. Billy went to the door to see who was there. He returned in front of Otter, who embraced Rat with affection. Get off, Rat said with his mouth full of food. Everyone along the riverbank was quite alarmed because you weren't home all night, explained Otter. But I knew that Badger would know what had happened. Weren't you nervous in the wildwood all by yourself? Mole asked. Otter's teeth gleamed as he laughed. Nervous? Never. Fry me some ham like a good chap. After Otter had finished a plate of ham and sent for more, Badger entered. He greeted everyone in his quiet way. It must be nearly lunchtime, he said. Better have lunch with us, Otter. You must be hungry. Yes, I am, replied Otter, winking at Mole. Watching these hedgehogs stuffing their faces with ham makes me famished. The hedgehogs looked timidly at Badger. They were too shy to defend themselves. It's time to go home to your mother, Badger said kindly. I'll send someone with you to show you the way. He gave them 6 pence each and a pat on the head, and they were off. So far, I don't think the picture that has been painted for us for Badger is actually true. I'm thinking. The others sat down to have lunch. Mole sat next to Badger. Otter and Rat were deep in conversation about river gossip. Mole told Badger how comfortable he felt in Badger's home. Nothing can get at you once you're underground, he explained. You're your own master. Things go on up above, and you only bother with them when you feel like it. Badger beamed. That's exactly how I feel, he replied. The only peace is found underground. No weather to deal with. Take Rat, a couple of feet of water, and he's got to move. Take Toad. Suppose a fire breaks out. Where would Toad be then? Mole agreed, and Badger instantly took a liking to him. After lunch, Badger lit a lantern and told Mole to follow him. They passed through a long tunnel into a corridor and down a narrow passage with many more passages branching off it and rooms on all sides. Mole couldn't believe the size of it all. How did you do all this? He asked. It's remarkable. It would be remarkable, Badger said, if I had done it. But I only cleaned it out. Long ago, there was a city of people right where the wildwood is now. They were powerful people and great builders. What has become of them? Mole asked. Who knows, Badger said. But when they went, the winds and rains eventually leveled the city. Then the forest began to grow again. In time, our home was ready for us underground animals, and we moved in. Up above us, on the surface, the same thing happened. Then the wildwood became populated with all different kinds of animals. Mole shuddered at the memory of these animals. Well, Badger said, patting Mole on the shoulder, you'll have no further trouble in the wildwood. Any friend of mine walks where he likes. When they returned to the kitchen, they found Rat pacing in a restless way. The underground atmosphere made him nervous. He had his coat on. Come along, Mole, he said. We must leave in the daylight. We don't want to spend another night in the wild wood. I'll go with you, Ratty, said Otter. If there's danger ahead, you can count on me to help." "Don't worry, Ratty," added Badger. "My passages run very far and lead to the edge of the wood. You can take one of my shortcuts." Rat was anxious to get back to his river. Badger led the way through a very long, damp tunnel until they saw daylight peeking through at the end. Badger said goodbye. Then he scattered leaves and wood over the hole to make it look natural again. The three friends found themselves standing on the very edge of the wild wood. Otter took the lead since he knew all of the paths, and they quickly headed home. As he hurried along toward home, Mole realized that he was happy among the things that he knew best. He'd like to be in places that were traveled often. Nature in the rough and unplowed fields might be fine for others, but he decided that he would stick to more pleasant places. And that is the end of chapter 4. I sure hope you're enjoying this book. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're notified every time a new video has been posted. And be sure to share with all of your friends. Okay? Bye-bye for now.